I'm your first Golden Bachelorette.
Joan has one thing on the mind, and it is not these men.
God, what a rough, weird.
I know.
I don't know why you guys are complaining. I thought the show was great.
The show was great.
You do.
The show was great. And honestly, a roller coaster of emotions all over the place. Joan started with 7 guys, and it was nuts. I think a common theme is Joan ready? That's the real question. So they kicked it off with actually Trista, who I'm sure, Kendall, you know who Trista is.
First Bachelorette.
Yeah.
She hung out with Joan, and it was another advertisement for another place in LA, La La Land smoothies or something.
God.
And I just kept thinking, are they foreshadowing that she picks no one?
Oh.
You know, so Trista and her husband Ryan, that she picked on the show, are still together. They have children. Like, they are the success story of the Bachelorette that they always go back to. So, I have a hard time with it because of how the episode went. I would agree with you, but no, because of who they were talking to.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Sure. One of the things she states in that meeting is that she's not going to be giving roses on one-on-ones. And I think our show really kind of guessed that early on, is that we did get the vibe that no matter what happened on the one-on-one, she would give a rose.
She's going to give him a rose.
Yes. And so I was really happy when they're like, hey, we're not going to give any one-on-one roses. And I'm like, this is a good rule for her.
Yeah.
Well, and when you're at that point where you're only giving away 4 roses and you have 2 one-on-ones,
Yeah.
it's like, okay, well, the rose ceremony is pretty lame then at that point.
Yeah.
But some of our guys finally had some one-on-one action, though.
Yeah. Was it too late in the game for them? Well, might have been, because Keith kicked it off with a helicopter ride. And I'm thinking Chalk is getting a little more jelly belly mode. You have to get your guy. Get
I
Chalk
hate
in
my
check.
guy. He might win the whole thing, but I'm going to be mad about it. He needs to back off. He gives me the creeps. There's so many red flags with this guy. I hate to be so harsh. Honestly, I'm sure he's a lovely man.
I know. That's what I keep thinking is he?
I don't get it. He's one of those. So everyone is rooting for everyone else. Like when Mark got that one-on-one date,
Yes.
everyone was genuinely happy for him, like almost in tears, like, this
Yeah.
is your chance.
I
Go
know.
for it. Chalk was sitting over there just seething.
I know. I almost got...
That's like so traditional Bachelor to me that I was like very familiar and comfortable
Sure, me.
in this
I mean,
place.
I get that,
Right.
but like, still, it makes me embarrassed for him.
No, okay, we do have to, we'll get to that, but there is a point where you're cheering on a little too much, and I need to talk to my guy Jordan about how excited he was. So we have Keith, they go on the helicopter ride, they do the wine tasting. It seems fine.
right.
She gets emotional about that 32-year thing.
Yes.
though, which brings us back to the point of like, are you ready for this?
Was anyone shocked that the wine tasting people were not siblings? Because they were. That's all.
Did you get the vibe? They could have been siblings,
They
Brittany.
looked related.
Oh
We
my
don't
God.
know.
I said they don't know what a first impression rose is. Like when they mentioned, she gave me the first, they looked at each other like, what the hell is that?
What did we agree
They're just
to?
like
We have done
granola
that?
wine people. Okay.
So at some point in the conversation, she kind of made it clear to Keith that, like, hey, I need you to show me another side. And he had to kick into, I can be more than jolly golly Keith.
Jolly Green Giant.
So he definitely gave her what I think she wanted, but we'll find out later.
And this was exactly how I thought this episode was going to start, because you may remember I said last week, this needs to be a redemption episode for Keith. The last time we saw him, he was stuttering over his words, couldn't
bad.
answer a very simple question in front of the mansion, and I was like, this needs to be a redemption episode. And as soon as he was picked, I was like, okay, I'm feeling good
And they
now.
even stated that, Mike. I was like, yep, Mike was right.
Yeah.
He, Mike, I was going to ask you, he's your guy.
Yeah.
How do you think his one-on-one date went?
I think it went fairly well. I do. I thought they did connect a little bit better. I felt a lot better about it after the date than maybe later on in the show. But yeah, no, I thought it went well. I thought they did connect on a level that maybe her next one-on-one didn't.
Yeah, and then we headed off to the bowling alley where
With all the guys.
yeah, with all the guys except Keith, or no, except Mark. And this is where Chalk got real chalky. This is where I think he next leveled his unlikability. There was a moment with Joan where she's sitting by herself, kind of curled up a little bit, the way I sit with like my knees up, and Chalk slid right in, and the air started having a problem with Chalk. And then the question that had me gagged happened, where he asked, "What side of the bed do you sleep on?"
Oh my God, I forgot. I blanked out.
You must, I
I
guess.
was just so at that point.
And also they kept saying like, "Oh yeah, she's curled up," but I read her body language as like, I'm staying away from you.
I'm so uncomfortable right now.
I'm clamshelling it.
Well, because she's someone, we've seen this time and again on the show. She doesn't want people to feel uncomfortable. That's why she always gives out a rose on the dates, the one-on-one dates. That's why she doesn't she doesn't make out with any of them. She just quick kiss because she wants to be respectful. She never huddles or holds hands with anyone specific. And the fact that he was doing that and he couldn't read, I agree with you, Brittany, like he couldn't read that body language of, I don't feel warm and cozy right now. I feel very uncomfortable because I'm doing this in front of these 4 or 5 other guys.
It's rude.
It's so rude.
So rude.
Yeah, and there was a moment where I think, Kendall, you believe that Jonathan sealed his fate of not getting a rose at the bowling alley.
I just think, I said this from the jump. Why I never put him on my team is because I really like him, but I don't think she wants to raise children again because he's got really young kids and he talked about her coming home and meeting his kids. And I think, and respect to her, she's just like, I already did that.
Yeah.
I don't want to do it again.
I do think that's a common theme in this episode is she doesn't want to take on other people's emotional load. I think that she's exhausted. I think she's a lot of people's caretakers.
Clear.
Yes. And that like people coming to the game with a lot of baggage is just not where she can be right now. Mm-hmm. And that's okay. Like I think, but I do think you're right. It's like, and spoiler alert, Jonathan does not get a rose. And I think you're right, Kendall, that is the reason why is she doesn't want young kids right now in her life.
And that's okay. Like she has grandkids and
Totally.
Everybody's in a different place. So
Well, and with him, it would mean moving to Iowa too. Like, so she's picking up her life. Like there was a lot of logistics that was like, no matter if she likes him or not, she's being practical.
Yeah. Absolutely. And Chalk stayed on his intensity game.
until my guy came through.
That's right.
Wait, what? Wait,
My
what?
guy said, Chuck, when she got up to bowl, Guy said, Chuck, give other people a chance.
Yes.
Like, thank you for saying it to him and not just talking about him later. Like, good for you for taking action and saying, this isn't cool.
Yeah.
It's weird.
I was like, good. Yes, Guy. It's weird.
I don't love Guy, but he is at least that like stand-up guy.
Yeah.
And I think she sees that too because remember when Kim wanted to sing the song and nobody would sing it with him, and then all of a sudden he gets eliminated, and who's right by his side singing along? It was Guy. So Guy at least kind of stands up for everybody. He's not afraid to talk and not afraid to get naked while he's getting a massage either.
That's right. The gluteus maximus is just a part of the body.
It's just a muscle.
He's our ER doctor.
Yeah.
Emergency.
Okay. He can't zest a lemon, but he could save our lives.
That's
I guess
right.
some people say that's more valuable. Mark has his one-on-one date, and we're pretty excited. As we know, Mark is the dad of Kelsey, who was the winner from the last Bachelor, is currently getting married to Joey.
Now, my favorite part of the entire episode happens right before this one-on-one.
Oh.
Okay.
It's when she walks in and she's like, oh, there's my guy, because they're all sitting in the living room. And she's like, oh, there's my guy. And she walks over to her one-on-one partner, Mark, gives him a big hug. They share a little kiss. And now Chalk was sitting next to Mark. Chalk then naturally moves over kind of to the other couch. And I'm like, oh, he's going to go sit by Jonathan now. As soon as Mark and Joan sit down, Chalk literally, if you watch the replay, he sits on the arm of the couch and slides down to be right next to her and put his arm around her.
her.
Again.
You are, get away from her.
I did not notice this.
I did.
I'll show you the replay.
This.
It is hilarious because he literally sits on the arm and then just kind of slides next to her.
Oh,
It's
irritating.
weird.
I love how weird and unnatural that is to sit on the arm of the chair.
And then to slide down like Squidward or something and then just like slip his arm around.
Like an SNL skit. Like, hey, it's like, here.
I know. I'm going to just scooch myself right here.
How dare you?
Okay, I know we love men supporting men, but at this point in the game, Jordan going on a freaking confessional talking about how great they would be, Mark and Joan would be as a couple. I literally wrote, why the hell is Jordan the most pumped for Mark and Joan's date?
They all love each other so much.
He
except for Chalk.
he did say he thought it'd be really good for them because they'd both lost their spouse.
He is not the matchmaker. He is trying.
Like,
Jordan,
listen, don't do it
get your
upfront about their relationship.
Get your head in the game, Jordan.
Listen, Jordan's hot.
He is.
I have feelings. I have feelings about Jordan. I have
And
feelings
back
for
to
Jordan.
the kissing.
I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe.
Oh, wait.
It's a Jordan thing.
It's a Jordan thing.
I don't know. He was hot. He's hot. Okay,
On their
I'm done.
one-on-one date from a couple of weeks ago, I just want to say that she full out open mouth made out with Jordan.
Yeah, okay.
That's 'cause
On the
he's
ice
hot.
skating, she like I was like, get it, girl.
Yeah.
Well, Mike's got a whole theory we're going to hear next about her eyes saying something different than her actions are. Her and Mark headed to the yacht, and editing did her dirty, or
Oh
did
my
him
God.
dirty.
They did her
God.
the lighting did her a little dirty too. Though,
It
let's
sure
be
did.
honest.
I noticed that. I was like, she doesn't look like that.
No.
Yeah, it was just like, that normally they put like a music montage to them like on a boat, because of course they're having awkward moments.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, finally we have a scavenger hunt, as if like they weren't talking at all. It was just so, the vibes were like
Not good.
to make him look awkward.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like it was like pointing at objects.
Like, yeah, it's beautiful. Look at that wave.
And I'm sure it's like most dates are like that, because they were with each other for so long going from point A to B, and then there are cuts and there's this and that. But the editing really wanted us to know it is not going well.
And they do that on, as we know, the regular Bachelor, Bachelorette, they do that all the time. They
Yeah,
like make
this
like
is a
the
technique.
soundtracks, like they do the funny things to make it look awkward or
Yeah.
uncomfortable. They have really not done that on this season. So the fact that they did it does make you go, ooh, that must have been uncomfortable. And production wanted her and him to get together so they could go home and see, like, of course, people love Joey. Like,
It would have been
bad.
great if he could have been a little more charismatic with her.
Yeah, absolutely. So the date, there was a quote that kind of got me where I thought this was a little bit of foreshadowing, where he says, "You're never going to be 100%." And I feel like that's something later. So as we know, the date went not great, a little awkward, and they come back to the mansion. And I felt bad because Mark's literally like, I'm so happy that went so well.
okay, can we also acknowledge on the thing when they were playing, like, Never Have I Ever? And
Yeah.
he's like, never have I ever woken up in the middle of the night to, like, feed a baby. I'm like,
What? I thought, what? I
That's
got to
not
remind
hot.
myself about that game.
Yeah.
Please
Yeah.
don't say that.
like,
Don't say that.
That's not funny.
That's not cool.
jerk. Like,
You have kids, Mark. Like, it'd be one thing if you're like a single person saying that. That makes sense.
Right.
But it's not a flex. Oh, I met somebody once who said, I've never changed a diaper. And I'm like, you have 3 kids. I literally will never talk to you again.
like, I loathe you entirely.
That's not a flex if you're out there doing that.
Right?
Yeah.
Ugh.
So they head back to the mansion. Mark is happy, living his best life, telling everybody he's floating on cloud 9. And Joan rolls up out of nowhere and says, I need to talk to Mark, where they have a one-on-one talk.
I knew it.
And there's a lot of theories of what was happening here. Mike, how did you feel this conversation went?
I felt like this was very similar to the conversation we saw a week earlier with Pascal, where she pulled her aside and just said, hey, I just want to make sure I know where your head's at. We're not really connecting in a certain way. And then she started this conversation and basically with Mark said, I need to get to a different level with you. We need to find a different place. And she even made the comment before the rose ceremony, I wanted to have a chance to have a conversation with you. And then it kind of stopped there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, unless they edited this in a weird way
yeah.
for us, it kind of stopped there. And he was like, I get it. I hope you find your love. And he just gave up. I felt like she was wanting him to fight. And he said, no, thank you, which either means
Yeah.
A, he didn't care and he isn't at the level, or he isn't at the level that she is at. And she's exactly right. He's not ready for this.
I think that she felt bad. I don't think there was really anything he could say that would make him
Really?
I think you want him to fight.
I didn't realize this until Mike brought it up, is that there is a precedent already set where she pulled somebody aside and wanted them to fight for her.
true.
And I think I do feel like now, because like going back there was an open-endedness to it that she was like,
Even if she had already made up her mind, he could have. What's the harm? He could have been like, no, you're misunderstanding me. Like, I am ready. I was just showing you that example. I was ready when I got here, and that was confirmation when I saw that hummingbird.
Yep.
So even if she did make up her mind, he could have changed her mind, I think.
Should have tried.
Should have tried.
well,
Coulda, shoulda, woulda, bro.
Exactly.
maybe at that point he was like, that boat ride wasn't that great for me either. I'm out.
Yeah.
It was cold. Let's go.
We head into the rose ceremony with 6 people, which means 2 were going home, and the 4 we're going to get a hometown visit. And let me tell you, when my jaw was on the floor, when Pascal was the first man picked, he's getting a hometown.
like him.
Kendall, congratulations, Kendall. Your man is getting a hometown
Nicely
pick.
done.
You know, I thought it was funny. I'm talking to my mom like before the roast ceremony, like, okay, who's in, who's out, who's in, who's out. And I was like, I feel the best about Pascal. As crazy as that would have sounded 2 weeks ago, Brittany brought up such a good point earlier that she's just like, I can't take on anybody's baggage, anyone's like stress, anyone's trauma. I can't. And he doesn't have any. He's like,
Just his laundry.
Yeah, right. He's learning. He's learning.
He's paying someone to do it, you guys.
They showed him in his tidy whities.
They showed him doing laundry.
Which, by the way,
because his guy he hired is gone.
It's wild to like we are watching a man in tidy whities.
I know. I was
loved
like,
it.
wow, what?
ABC. Okay,
Come on now. What
I
do you-
see you.
Oh,
got
but
there.
I think he is the guy that she's like, you know what? This could be a totally different life than I've had before. And I don't mean the money thing. I mean like the fun, adventurous, I want to be taken care of again. And this could
Yes,
be
she
the guy
wants
that I
that.
have fun with.
Yeah, and I think a big misstep for a lot of men, and we found out in this rose ceremony, is they came thinking that they should expose their trauma and tell her, all the negative stuff. And I think that is a repellent for her at this point, where she's like,
I can't.
I have too much already on my plate.
Do you guys feel like she's just closed off?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
the way
Oh,
she,
yeah.
like I
1,000.
don't think she ever really like
Yeah.
opens herself up. She just seems so like, oh, I'm so sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
You know,
Dawn,
when
I said
people,
the exact same thing last night.
Yeah.
watching
God,
it. Yeah,
I just-
she's
I don't
so
know.
sweet. Like you can't say anything negative about her,
No.
but she's just back here.
it is. She's got a part that she.
And that's similar to what you were teasing, Brittany, before when we went to break, is that I think that is something she has with everyone except 2 people. And I think this is a 2-man race. When she talks to Jordan, her eyes light up in a way it doesn't light up with anybody else. She feels comfortable. She feels like this is good. And at first, I think, Brittany, you took that as, oh, there's no chemistry
It's a
there.
brother-sister vibe.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think that's different, though. I think they're very comfortable with each other. And I think it's Jordan and Chalk. I think, honestly, you'll get to in a second. I might have lost both my guys. So as a outside looking in observer.
Okay, so then the second rose goes to Chalk,
Yeah.
which we all
Not
saw
surprised.
coming. We thought she likes Chalk. As much as we don't want her to, she likes Chalk. Then Guy gets one who I really think they're underplaying because of...
Shocked. I was shocked.
I was surprised they had him too. And then this one had me the most shooketh. Jordan got the last rose over Keith.
Yeah.
And I literally, you could have hit me over with a feather. I was, we don't know where this Miss Vassos is going next. The fact that Keith and Mark, who we thought were her type, are gone.
Yeah.
What?
She thought they were her type.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
yeah.
I think she wants to, explore
Change it?
Jordan.
I would too. I want to
I
explore
mean, but
Jordan.
she's not going to because we all know about the fantasy suite.
Yeah, so that was another thing that came out. She's taking the bed out of the fantasy suite, which makes me just think, is that like an adventurous sex thing? Like you're going to have sex in different places? But then I was like, no, wait, that's not what she's trying to say.
The grandkids are watching, and she's like, nope.
That's a smart.
We're
move
not
for her,
touching that.
honestly.
You guys, a part of me is like, we should let Mike have Joan as one of her people because it feels like they could be teasing up that she picks nobody.
No, thank
Oh.
you. I'm choosing somebody else.
Who would
You
you
are?
pick? Why? Who else would you
If you
pick?
say Gary, I'm going to die.
Hi, I'm Gary. I've never sent you home, and now we're gonna find true love.
If it ends as Gary, I'll give that
I'm
as yours.
taking Gary.
Okay, fine.
Okay, thank you.
Can I have Joan then? Because
If
I
Joan
want
picks
Joan.
nobody, I think nobody loses. But if Gary
Brittany,
wins,
you have Jordan.
Okay, I know, but I also do feel like she's gonna pick nobody.
Really?
Mike, before we tap out, because we have to, since you're the only one without a team anymore,
Yep.
Brittany and I have been hanging on by our fingernails for weeks.
Death gripping to our
Do you
one.
have anything you'd like to say?
good luck.
You first off bake for us.
Oh
You
yeah,
gotta
I'm gonna
for
bake
us.
something. What do you guys want? What, I
That's
mean,
right.
the winner's gonna have to decide what I bake for them. But yeah,
I thought everybody gets something.
Yeah.
I feel
Don't we
like
just all
whenever
get something?
I think whenever you're out, you have to bake something. I think
I like this.
yeah.
Take.
'Cause
well, now we're changing the rules.
Oh, but
have
it's-
you met us?
Hello.
Okay.
Also, I have to acknowledge that I've had one person for the longest
Yeah,
time.
Impressive.
We have.
I was
Thank
so
you.
confident when this episode began that I was at least going to get one through. And then all of the things played out, and Mark went home, and I was like, Keith's definitely making it now. And then nobody made it. And I'm done.
Joan is
So
a
good luck,
wild
ladies.
card,
I have
and
2 left, and I don't want either of them to have her.
next
that
week.
weird?
Pascal.
We're all
Pascal.
cheering for Jordan, I think.
I just
Or
want to jump
Pascal.
his bones. I don't want Brittany
I
to
don't want
win.
Pascal to win because I want. It's funny. We want each other's match.
You guys are married.
It's perfect. Next week we get to watch with each other. It'll be so much fun. Thanks for going on this ride with us.